Hey guys, so I'm late to the party on this one since I thought it was being posted later, but it was actually up yesterday. So the Alpha Network is coming. It was up yesterday, but now it's down. But with it, they are telling us what updates are going to be coming over the next 6 months and beyond, pretty much the rest of the year, and then maybe a bit into next year. Also, there's a bit of information, on like the alpha because it really went down like not long after they put it up because they had some issues. Anyway, they go through the purpose of the alpha, which is testing the Dwarven Mines Part 2 update, which is called the Crystal Hollows, which I didn't get to see much about it, but it seems to be like some gemstones and some other things. Like down here, they talk about some known issues with that in a second. And pretty much the alpha works just how it worked before, just now they clone your profile, which they didn't do last time. And yeah, if you have the high enough rank, which eventually will open more ranks, make sure you go check it out, because you do get a limited collectible item, just like you did for when you did dungeon testing, which is pretty cool. So beyond that, there are also known issues that so far people already discovered that you got to get on, which are the armadillo pet, which don't even know what that does. Mole perk, no idea either. And then other items and perks. So again, we'll have to wait and see till that's up. And then why are they doing this? Yeah, they really need to do it, and they explain why. There's been a lot of disasters, a bunch of wipes, which are bad things happening, and this is something they should have always been doing. And I know it takes time and resources, but it's probably better in the long run, since they will end up with a lot less issues on the live server if they can catch them early on like the duplicated version. Enough people testing it, you'll come across some problems. And finally, the meat of the issue that I want to talk about, not even issue, the meat of the video I want to talk about is what's next for Skyblock. And what's next is pretty much, there's quite a bit. And it's all, summarizing these small points. Well, let's go over it. First, the Crystal Hollows, which I thought this was a rumor, but I guess in the forum post it said July 6th. Hopefully they wrote beside it. So I don't think it'll be the 6th, because they do probably want to have it on the alpha up for a few days. I'm not exactly sure of the scope of the update they're going with, but probably give it like 1 to 3 days more, up to a week, just in case. But yeah, a lot of new items, new unique way to enhance armor. That's cool. Anyway, and the next big one, new island tied to foraging later this year. This is something we've been waiting for so long, and it's been really needed. Foraging has been neglected for too long. It's such a boring skill, so I really hope they they do something with this skill, and it should definitely get the Dwarven Mine treatment, in my opinion. It should just be a complete revamp, and it just be really fun, because foraging is honestly a snooze fest. Next, they have a revamp of an old classic. We will be picking up a combat island. It's a Nether Fortress. This is 1000% the Nether Fortress. There's no doubt in my mind, because like this has been neglected since the start of the game, and all it has is magma boss. So yeah, this should be something to look forward to, But it's a little unfortunate, because they said this could be pushed to the 1.0 update. So that could be a little unfortunate, which is also the next thing in the post, which is sometime in 2022. And this is, the full, I guess you could say the full release of Skyblock. They're calling it, the official release. And this should be for like an expansion. So maybe think like one craft expansion or something like that, or expansion for your favorite game. Like everyone plays different games, so I can't exactly draw on any comparisons. But something should come with a lot of content, and like new islands and features. That'd be Pog. I really think if they do go for this, make like a new hub zone, right? And this will branch into the like later points down in further paragraphs. But current Skyblock stuff is cool, and then just maybe transition to have like an end game hub. I think that would be pretty nice for the game, if you know what I mean. And if you get too hyped and we delay this to 23, don't say I didn't warn you. What is this, Hightail? Hopefully it doesn't get delayed till 2023. That would suck. After 1.0, for any content that comes after 1.0, we can see the possibility of using recent Minecraft version releases to add even more content to the game. This is an idea where you're still exploring and may not necessarily come to reality, as you're forced to play Skyblock on the most recent version of the Minecraft only. on the table. Thank you, monsters. I think this is great. Like, this is something that really would be really nice because it would add so much variety and more options and more tools for them to deliver, you know, more not really, well, I guess you could say more unique, and they have more choices with what they could do with, you know, all the different items and mobs and textures and all this other stuff. So I think this would be really cool. But, you know, people will be like, I don't want to use the latest version. So beyond that, you know, they're talking about, wait a minute, did you just write complete rebalance of the entire game with a 1.0 release? So yeah, I'm not entirely sure about, like, you know, a full rebalance of the game, but, you know, let's quickly go through. There has been a lot of controversies around recent nerfs, and I'd like to address them. First, major nerfs don't come to the game with a lot of thought. I don't think they do. I still don't think they do. Like, they do not think about these enough. We don't just throw them in. All the game designers sit down and figure out if it's a good idea or not, then one dev makes it happen. Blame shouldn't fall on the person who released it, if there's any to be given. Ultimately, when we nerf items or content or items in the game, we do it for the health of the game as a whole. Example, the strength nerf was necessary. No, it was not. Like, this is bullshit. This is not necessary for the game at all. For the way the game should be progressing, the strength nerf should not have been needed. Mobs should be progressively getting harder and harder and harder anyway. Not, let's just nerf the player's power level so they are weaker. This is just BS if you ask me. Especially considering they do this nerf, which is a considerable nerf, and then they release Enderman Slayer, which is by far the most powerful mob in the game because its health pool and damage far exceeds anything we already face, and we are now nerfed against it. So I don't, you know, like, not enough thought goes into this, you know, and essentially, like, how it affects, you know, the curve of how it affects is it doesn't affect late game people as much, but it heavily affects everyone far below that. Anyway, and damage was not reaching a ludicrous amount, right? Like, there are other mechanics and ways they can shift this, like mobs taking damage reduction, you know, and especially how they added a mechanic to the Ender Dragon where, you know, if you're dealing past a, you know, X amount of damage, you don't deal that. Like, why don't you just add that? You know, if they want to, like, cap damage, just add a cap per mob, you know, instead of just being like, all right, so yeah, damage is reaching too high when it's really not. 2 to 3 mil, like, per hit. They took out sword swapping. It's not too bad, especially when a mob has 203 or 300 mil health. Like, that takes a while to kill, especially because they had the shield mechanic too. All the entire game is kept the same difficulty with some rare scenarios requiring maybe one more hit or two. Yeah, I think they're forgetting about Slayers when they talk about this, and dungeons as well, the actual hard content in the game where those nerfs really affect it. Now, what is this rebalance? As some of you may notice, there is an insane difference between top 1% of players' rest. There should be an insane discrepancy because the top 1% are, you know, playing a lot, and the rest of and doing what's efficient, and the rest of the people are not doing what's efficient. Balance in Skyblock combat is all their plays. Not really makes sense. For the 1% reduce, we'll be using areas to aspect the game and changing numbers everywhere. It's a lot of math. The reason for this is the corner we push yourself into for combat content releases. Making it content, we are at the point where if we make it challenging, making players can't even consider trying it, while the min-max players can just come in and one-shot the whole thing. If we balance content around this top player, then only 1% player base can even stand it. This is pretty much like Enderman. Like, even the T2 Enderman can mess up like a mid-game player. Like, it can, they do so much damage. Like, I think they really need to, like, revisit a lot of this stuff, and maybe, like, sooner than the, you know, the 1.0. Because it's like, the Enderman is the biggest, like, Enderman Slayer is the biggest question mark release to me, because it just doesn't make any sense, like, at all. And it's just like, Well, everyone's first impression of their balancing be that they're hitting less higher than before. Enemy health will be lowered to follow this change. Hoping most content will keep the same difficulty level, but without having to reach billions of damage per hit. No one's hitting billions of damage per hit unless, like, you're in dungeons, and that's because dungeons is sitting there giving you stat amplifiers. Like, that's why dungeon damage is why outside dungeon people are still doing, like, just mills, like, at most, you know. Also, you know, they add item like Mastiff that literally doubles your damage, and they wonder why damage is hitting insane numbers when they add items like that, you know. At the same time, we're hoping to buff item class playstyle. I've been left behind, and early game items should be less worthless than they are now. Just necromancy item buff, please. Please note we will be conducting a lot of testing with AltNet for this new rebalance to make sense at various stages of development. And then, you know, there's talk about, oh, here's Skyblock. What about my favorite game? and then that isn't really a factor. Pretty much how it is screw the other games. They're gonna be updated eventually. But yeah, so overall, again, like you guys know, I'm like very adamant on like my hate for like stat nerfs because the games should just be progressing, like at a decent pace. We got the harder mobs like the myth mobs and some slayers, and then they just have this like huge jump with the Enderman update, and then also significantly nerf players damage at the same time, while these mobs also hit super freaking hard. So it's just like, I don't know. Like I really don't even know. But yeah. Either way, I'm looking forward to the Crystal Hollows, and I'm very happy they, delivered us some roadmap, so I know what to look out for over the next few 6 months or so. Which I always look forward to. I love being let in the know, and it's nice that they are finally communicating with the player base, since I think that is very important for a healthy game. For the there'd be some kind of dev or blog post. It's like, hey, we're doing this and other stuff. So yeah. Either way, meow, and hopefully you guys heard that. And yeah, I think that'll be it from me. You guys, definitely share your opinion with me, and or not really share your opinion, but if you want to have an opinion on this, maybe different than mine, or how you feel about it, definitely share it in the comments below. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.